We are going backwards a little bit. I have blank paper for you because you know me on these ones. I don't really want lined paper, and I definitely don't want graph paper. So I'm going to come around and I'm going to put this out. We got to get some real vocab on this, especially because I have a number of you who are going to Calc next year. So I'm excited for you. I am fully capable of counting. There we go. Be super careful. Any crumbs, because we have a rat in here. When you're done. Yeah. And he poops on Mrs. Costello's desk. Oh, I'm taping that. Awkward. I don't know who that is. They are included. As parentheses, a soft boundary. Get close, don't hit. So go to that back desk. There's going to be some back there. Yeah, I get that. Okay, here we go. So the first thing that we need to talk about is the real name for these. These are unusual. I know. I can't. That's your first choice. So let's do this. Let's move back there. Okay. Oh, Talia, you're such a boy, smart girl. So here we go. You can come back later. So periodic functions are this new thing. And what that means is that is any graph, that's a graph with a shape that repeats. And I am going to give you an obvious example. You don't have to have this example. I mean, you know, we're doing this, right? We're doing sine. He repeats. He just goes over and over and over again. You know, you could also have something that looks like this. You could go chew, chew, chew. Like it doesn't have to necessarily be curvy, right? I'm going to show you one that's not really a function because it backs up onto itself. But you could actually graph this, and they could be curlicues. And then you do that sometimes in calculus. And you make an actual shape of it, by the way, and it's kind of cool looking. So, but anything that has a shape that repeats over and over is a periodic function, right? That's our first thing, is it's a shape that repeats on itself. I'm gonna erase all this, so hopefully you've written down, Martin, you got this down because I'm gonna erase it. Okay, so now the next thing you need to know is the cycle. And the cycle is this. The cycle is the space it takes to make one whole version of the shape. Watch what I mean by that. So we've got our sine thing, right? We did sine. Here he is. Where did he go? You guys just did him. Did he not do him? There he is. So watch what we just did. This is one whole version of his shape. Here to here to here, right? That's one whole version. This is not enough, right? Because there's not just an up part, there's a down part. So a cycle, one cycle of this is the up and the down. That is one cycle. Here's another cycle. After that would be another cycle. So the cycle is the space it takes you to make the whole entire shape. So if we were even doing the curlicue, it's the time it takes you to make one whole curlicue, right? That it would be your cycle, right? The period is how long it takes you to make that shape. So here's what I mean by this. How long it takes you to make the shape. And we're going to be dealing with this guy tomorrow, right? We're going to be changing the period. And here's what I mean by that. Imagine you're a senior and I am supposed to be signing your thing, your senior project thing, and it's due next period. And I say, you can leave and run home and get it, right? And you're like, okay, it takes me 10 minutes to get home, walk home, 10 minutes to come back. That would be the period, 20 minutes. But if I said, hey, no, I want you to go twice that fast, then you ran home in 5 minutes, you ran back in 5 minutes, that would be a 10-minute period. So you can change how long it takes you. If you're walking slow, it might take you 20 minutes to go to school, to get home and to come back. If you're in a car, it might just take you 5 minutes to get home and come back. That's the period length, right? The amplitude is the height of our shape. Actually, not really the height. Let's change that. Let's change that to the max and min height of our shape, right? Because I don't just go 3 on the top, I go 3 down as well, right? The domain, we know range. Domain is your x coordinate, right? On these, it's always going to be all real numbers. On periodic functions, they go on and on forever. Range is going to have to do with the amplitude. It will be your max and your min height, right? And now that's supposed to be an H in there somewhere. Now we have one more new word, and you're writing this down, and we're going to deal with him today, and it's called the midline. Okay, so here's what. Has anyone ever seen those stand-up fans that you could put in your room, and if you push the button on the top, they go like this, they go, choo. Those fans have a name. It begins with an O. Anyone know what those are called? What kind of fans? Someone said it. Did I hear it? They're oscillating. Yeah, and oscillating is anything that goes front to back, or in our case, up and down, up and down, up and down. The sine graph oscillates over a middle line. So think about this. When we got this dude right here, I go down and up and down and up. It's oscillating. And the important part here is this right here. That's called our midline. It's our midline. So here's our definition. It is the line, the graph. I'm going to spell this word right. I'm so proud. I looked it up. Oscillates, 2 L's, across, right? Now, where the hell do I find that midline? You know what? He's in our equation, and you didn't even realize it. Look at this very beginning equation. Look at all this crazy stuff. This guy right here, let me get rid of all this. This guy right here is my amplitude. Here's where the midline lives, plus whatever. And in this case, what did I add on? 0. I added on 0. So my midline was right here at 0, right? So we're going to be adding on numbers on here, right? And that's going to change where our midline is. So it's going to shift it up and down. Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It is K. It is K. Yep. Okay. Yes. It is. Long line would be. Yes. Yes. It is. It's going to be like our Y value. It's going to move this guy. It's like a little elevator. It's going to move it up. And you're thinking, well, why didn't he have one? He did. It's 0. Right on. So what are we doing today? We're shifting this baby. We're shifting him up and down. We're moving him vertically. A vertical shift. For those of you who learned the H plus K thing, this would be K, right? So here we go. Let's do this. Are you ready? So this is what we're going to start with. I am going to recommend that when you graph these, that you actually write off to the side 4 things. And we're going to add a 5th one tomorrow. We got domain and we got range. We're going to have to do those guys, right? Range is kind of running out of space. Let's put range right here. Now let's start with the amplitude. In other words, how big is our wave going to get? Our wave is only one. He's one, right? He's one. And he's starting up normal. He's going up. He's plus, right? So if you want to even make it +1, you can. Our midline on this one changes. It's 2. Let me tell you what that means. It means that instead of starting at 0 like he normally does, we are shifting this guy and he's going to now start at 2. So what I like to do when I do this, let me go ahead and make this a little bit longer. I'm going to make this 2 right here. I have now taken this guy right here and watch my little bit of crazy magic. I am moving this guy to there. Does that make sense? I've shifted my midline, right? Now, here's what's interesting. My wave is going to go one above my midline and one below my midline. So what's the highest my wave is going to get to now? 3. Awesome. And what's the lowest my wave is going to get to? Careful, he's only going to go down 1 off of the midline. So just down to 1. Does that make sense? So this tells me how big my wave is. It's only a foot big, but it's telling me I'm doing it off of 2. So up to 3, down to 1. The range will be 1, 3. But you're ahead of me. You're so good. Let's go ahead. Let's put some numbers on here. You guys ready to do this? I know this is the biggest pain in the ass. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to let you do this little shortcut, not on a test, but today. I realize that 1 pi over 2, the pi and the over 2, thank you, my friend, is the biggest pain in the ass here. Oh, pain in the butt here. So if you would like to get rid of the over 2s and just make it 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, but please, it's all over 2. Like, I'm going to let you do that if you want, but don't mess that up on a test. If others of you are thinking, well, it's not really the over 2s that bug me, it's the stupid pi. If you want to make it 2 over 2, 3 over 2, 4 over 2, because you just took off the pi's, you can do that as well. On a test, no, especially tomorrow because we start messing with those guys. But tonight, I'm not going to lie, the hardest part of today is not doing the math. The math is easy. It's writing these out every time. It's just a pain in the butt. And I hear you. It is for me as well, who's been doing this now for 2.5 hours. Okay. Now, one thing I did want to tell you, when we graph, I want 2 periods, meaning I want to see the shape not once, I want to see the shape 2 times, because that way I know you really know the shape, right? So do the up, down, and then 1 more time. That's why I keep going to 8 pi, right? Okay, so let's put our dots on. Are you ready? Get your little like dots out. Sine starts at 0, but I've moved 0 up. So sine will start right there. Does that make sense? And now he's going to go up 1 off the midline, then back to the midline, then 1 below the midline, then back to the midline, then 1 above the midline, then back to the midline, 1 below the midline, and then back to the midline. And then you get to make the noise. Woo! Go for it. Best part. Oh, nope, that's not right. He's going to keep on going here. Don't forget arrows, because he goes on forever. He doesn't stop. That's supposed to be a domain right there. I'm going to really encourage you to put the arrows because it's not just that piece. It really does go on further. So it's like when kids in like middle schoolers or even high like freshman boys, they graph a line like this. And it's like, not a line, that's a stick. So yeah. Okay, so let's do our domain and range. Domain, super easy. It goes on and on forever, yay. But my range, my lowest point was what Jordan told me. It's at 1. Remember, we go low to high, and my highest point is at 3. How do you think of that? Is that bad? I told you, it's okay, right? Not the end of the world. Yes. No, not on these ones. Yes. We're going to look at tan on on Wednesday just to see it so you know that it exists. But we don't really shift tan. We just shift tan over. We don't change the shape ever. And it's the one I'm going to put on the test. I went to Mrs. Dill and I said, for calc, what do they need? She goes, they need to know sine and cosine really well, how to move them, and that's it. And so I said, oh, well, I can do that. Okay, here you go. Give it a try. Everyone hates cosine because cosine doesn't start on the midline. It starts at the very highest point. So I want you to think about what your highest point is going to be here. It's not going to be 4. What's going to be your highest point? 5, absolutely. Martin, do this problem, please. Thank you. Yes. Because my midline is at 4. That's my middle line, and I'm going to be going 1 above that. Amplitude is 1, midline is 4. That little midline amplitude thing really helps. It really makes it super easy. You guys are going to work at it. I'm going to put all the stuff on the correct way because it's kind of my job. But you can do a little bit of shortcutting here. It's the pi that slows me down, to be honest. I can do everything else. Bless you. Starts off the midline. It's why we all hate cosine. Everyone does. Poor cosine gets a bad rap, but everyone feels that way about him. Please don't forget, here's where I make my mistake when I graph these. I have to literally think about it. I have a tendency to get to my lowest point, and then on the next point, go right to my highest. You have to go like high, midline, low, midline, high, midline, low, midline. Like you got to get that. Like I literally, if I'm up here, and if you were in my head, like I am saying that to myself, like high, midline, low, midline, because I have a tendency to forget that midline. And then my graph, like it's like, why am I not ending at the right place? Like I end at 5 pi over 2. It's like, why did I end there? And it's like, because I forgot to do that midline. So here's what I'm doing for you. I'm going to throw that midline on there. Do you have to do this? You don't. But if you think that it's beautiful, you can. And here we go. Nice and pretty. Starts high. There he goes. There he goes. How does yours look? Does it look like mine? Did you get that your domain is all real numbers and that your range goes all the way from 3 to 5? Yeah? Oops, solid bracket there. Is that right? Yes. Yes, it's funny you should ask that. We're like, look, because we're doing that in a second. But let's do this one first. Ooh, let's do this one. Let's do both. What happens if we do both? What if we change where our ground is? That's the 2, and we change how high the wave is. So before you start this, baby, my amplitude is 3 and my midline is 2. What's my maximum that my wave is going to hit? It's going to hit at 5, right? So like if your tsunami wave is 10 feet tall, but you're now 3 feet off the ground, it's hitting at 13 feet, right? Because you're going to take your midline and add 3 to it because you're going 3 above and 3 below. Be careful. It's going to be at -1, right? Because 2, 1, 0, -1. Is that like, oh my God, good? Oh my God, bad. Sorry, it's all me. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate this. I really do like this. Stop. I, you would have graphed it and you would have seen that if you went up really high and you only went down one, your wave wouldn't have been in the middle. You would have been like, why does it look wrong? You would have seen it. I could have let you just do it yourself. Then you would have been only mad at you. And then I would have been like, yeah, like that. So Caesar, pretty soon I'm getting new cards, right? Because I just don't want it. But that's why I'm not hassling everyone about the phones because until I get the new cards and I can take roll off it. So it's bad enough to keep it. Another thing, play on it during class. Again, love the fact that that is now on the recording. Yay. Okay, so here's what. I am moving my midline, right? So my midline is going to be here at 2. So I'm going to take that dude. And again, you are always welcome if you want to use a highlighter because I got him. Look, he straightens up. Thank God for that. And here's what he does. Nice and careful. So gentlemen, on this one, he is going to go 3 off the midline, right? So if he's right here, he's going to go up 2, 3, 4, 5 up, right? I feel like I never come to this side of the board over here. So I'm going to go, yeah, so sign starts right here, and then he's going to go 3, 4, 5. That's his height. Now here, remember, we go back to the midline, and now he's going to go 3 down. Careful on this one. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3. He's going to hit right here at -1. Back to the midline, up to the top, back to the midline. That's not even my fault. Down here, back to the midline. And then if I want to do one more just to make it pretty, I can always add an extra one. Remember, he's cruising in from here. Do it the right way. You guys are pros. Choo, choo, choo. Coming this way. Our domain is always the same. Domain, all real numbers. We love that. But our range on this one, the lowest point, make your eye go to the lowest point, -1, all the way to the highest point of 5. Oh, God, every time. We feeling it? Martin's looking at me. Yeah. It's a lot for one day. Yeah, right on. So guess what? Let's put it all together. Let's put everything we hate in one delicious problem. Do we like cosine? No. Do we like amplitude that's negative? No. Do we like a midline that's negative? No. Yay, I love this problem. What does the amplitude negative do? It says instead of going up, our wave is going to start by going down and then up. So let's think our way through this. Our amplitude is -3. Our midline is at -2. So here's my midline, and my wave is going to go 3 below that. So what's the lowest point it will hit? At -5. Very good. -3, -4, -5. What's the highest point it will hit at? 1, right? Because I'm at -2, -1, 0, 1 is the height of it. Yeah? Go ahead, give this one a try. Remember, cosine does not start at the midline. It starts on this one at -5. Bless you. He is a pain in the ass. But this is everything. If you could do this, you got this. Which is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, pretty crazy math. I'm definitely impressed with you all. Yes. Okay, because normally cosine starts off the midline, right? So normally you go up however many, but since it's negative, I'm going to go down however many to start. It starts at the down part. So instead of doing this, normally it goes like this. And watch this. Let's see if I can do this. Oh my God, this will be so cool if I can make this work. I am going to flip it. So now it starts down, right? So normally, oh, like, oh, the W, what the hell is that? Uh, so watch, that's our normal one, right? Starts up, and now the negative says, screw that, start at the bottom, and then do the whole thing. It would start up at the top. Yeah. That makes, so it would start on this one, it would, here's my midline. If it was +3, I'd start up here at 1, and then do the whole thing, and then go down to 5, right? And now I'm saying, no, just start at the bottom this time and do the whole thing. So remember, it's point, midline, point, midline, point, midline. Correct. No, stop that. Stop that. I don't want to. It says it's a W. There you go. It's a W. Okay, you ready? I need to take a look at this guy. I'm going to come do him over here just to shake things up a little bit. It won't show up over there, so everyone's going to have to look over here. But I feel like I never get to this side, and I feel kind of bad. Not super bad, but a little bad. Save as. I don't want this. I made the wrong thing. Okay, so we're doing this. We're annotating. Okay, here we go. Let's see. That's going to be 1 pi. Oh, how pretty that is. 1 pi over 2. 2 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2. 4 pi over 2, 5 pi over 2, 6 pi over 2. Maybe I have to go back. You guys are naughty. You guys don't even care. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. So I'm making you look this way. So on this one, here is my midline. Let's throw that midline on there. That midline is at -2. So I'm dotting this. Oh, interesting colors. So I'm dotting that guy in, right? Now cosine doesn't start at the midline. He goes down or up to his highest or lowest point. And in this case, it says, hey, go down to your lowest point. So my very, very lowest point is going to be down here at -5. That's where I start. So -5. So in my head, remember, I go point, midline, point, midline. So point, midline, point, midline, point, point, midline, point, midline, point. Here he goes. Woo! I am your friend. Does it look right? Does it look right? You know what? That's a shame. I'm gonna have to do this again in a minute on the video. So I'm gonna give you your homework, and then if you think, why is she still talking? Because on the video, none of that showed up. So yay me. Your homework tonight is thank you to 0 period 5 through 11. The answers are on there, right? But I'm going to do this problem a second time if you are like, I'm still a little confused because I didn't videotape it. And if you naughty gentlemen want to come back, you may, or you can stay. Oh my God, I can't believe you're actually coming back. That's adorable. Are you staying or are you going?
I'm going to go.
Oh, you do. You're not naughty. You have to stay. And you can come over here. Can you give me 2 seconds to do that one part that I have to redo for the video? If you're watching the video right now, sorry, I'll be with you in 2 seconds. I'll sing to you while we're waiting. La, 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 la. 5 through 11. And if you're on the video, 5 through 11.
Dana, what's Jackson going to drop?
I don't know. Let me think about it. Okay, so my video, okay. You guys got to be quiet for just a minute because I'm doing the video thing. One pi over 2, 2 pi over 2. Hey, you guys, give me 2 seconds to just finish the video. Tim, give me just 2 seconds to do the video. 5 pi over 2, 6 pi over 2, 7 pi over 2. Did I say you could kind of make like do a little shortcut on the points? I did, right? You can do that little shortcut. So again, sorry, video friends. Here's the midline. The midline is at -2. It's right there. So we're going to go 3 in the negative direction off the midline. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go 3 down. So that's where I start. And then midline above it. And then midline below it, and then midline above it, midline below it. And I'm ready to draw in. Woo, that's the best part of the whole thing. There you go. Thank you, my friends who are watching at home. Feel better.